the system is like, it's a goofy system. It's a popularity contest to see who controls the nukes.
Right.
It makes no sense.
Who controls the nukes? I just feel like lefties and righties don't like him.
You're right.
Both people don't like him.
But there's no choices other than him on the left, and the people on the left are only going to vote on the left, and that's it. Unless some Mamdani guy comes out of left field. And
Is that
says,
the New York guy?
Yeah.
That's so fun.
ZohranMamdani is the kind of New York politician who burst onto the scene acting as if he personally uncovered hardship that had somehow gone unnoticed. He talks about renters, coffee shop workers, and subway riders the way a documentary narrator talks about a forgotten tribe, as if inequality in New York City was first discovered in 2025 and he alone had the courage to point it out.
But the point that you're making is right, which is that we have to have a housing policy for all 8.5 million people. That's why you couple a rent freeze with construction of 200,000 truly affordable.
Every speech he gives carries the vibe of someone who thinks, I read political theory, is a substitute for lived experience. Ironically, housing policy is basically his entire brand. Yet he's managed to convince supporters that passionately describing a problem is the same as fixing it. The urgency is loud. The solutions remain vague.
Thinking about affordability more with the median household income in New York City, which is $70,000 for a family of four.
I love it.
So you have to increase that, and you have to make it easier for the private sector to also.
His rise makes sense once you understand the political environment he operates in. In that world, detailed plans aren't required. You just need the right language. Cycle through words like solidarity, oppression, and abolish, and suddenly you're treated like a revolutionary thinker. Mamdani realized early on that emotional certainty outperforms technical competence. He built a career on activist-style rhetoric packaged as policy, delivered with the intensity of someone who just learned the word bourgeoisie. Choosing landlords as his primary enemy was an easy move, politically speaking, almost like choosing gravity as the villain.
But that's why you have to take this as an opportunity to also tackle the costs that landlords are facing. Because when I speak to landlords,
talk to me about that. That's interesting.
I hear that the insurance of affordable housing units has doubled in the last few years.
Criticizing landlords is already a popular pastime. No one is shocked when they hear landlords are bad. But Mamdani presents it as if he's uncovered some hidden truth about economic justice. Whenever he dramatically invokes rent control, he pauses like he expects applause for courage. It's political theater rather than practical policymaking.
The thing is, maybe what he wants to do is going to coincide with AI and automation, which is going to be, you're going to have someone who has at least some sort of, not like pure socialism, but at the very least universal basic income, like the ideas that they want to implement. Because if you don't, you're going to have chaos. You're going to have, all jobs are going to, essentially, most jobs are on the chopping block.
I understand what people think Mamdani is trying to accomplish, but let's be realistic. Dressing up old socialist ideas in futuristic, tech-friendly language doesn't suddenly make them harmless. Yes, automation is coming, and yes, the economy will evolve. But handing sweeping financial control to ideologues who see universal basic income as a cure-all isn't forward-thinking. What he markets as innovation is really the same push for government dependence, just framed as modern compassion. Instead of enabling workers, entrepreneurs, and small businesses to adapt, his approach sidelines them in favor of centralized solutions that risk crushing incentives and ballooning costs. Strong leadership prepares people to compete, not to rely on a single, rigid system.
You have a property tax system that's broken in New York City, one that effectively penalizes rental apartments and the owners of those rental apartments. And if you had a system that incentivized the construction of rental apartments, you could have a very different landscape of housing. So to me, it's freeze the rent and take on the cost of insurance and fix a broken property tax system and streamline development and have the city produce 200,000 homes.
At the core of his platform is a casual disregard for economic reality. He speaks like someone who skimmed an introductory economics chapter and skipped the parts he didn't like. Rent freezes, punitive taxes on the wealthy, endless expansion of city-funded programs, all presented without clear funding plans. To him, budgets aren't constraints. They're obstacles imposed by an unfair system. Every issue is framed as a moral failure, every objection as cruelty. The passion is loud, But passion alone doesn't fix infrastructure or maintain housing. What's striking about the progressive bubble he moves in is how disconnected its self-image is from everyday reality. Critics are talked down to, disagreements are moralized, and working-class concerns are filtered through activist jargon. Nurses, tradespeople, shop owners, and delivery workers hear these proposals and wonder whether they're being helped or buried under red tape. When communities push back, they're told they just don't understand the theory. Disagreement is treated like a character flaw. The ideas sound inspiring until they collide with practical questions, at which point the answers dissolve into slogans.
What was his policy? What did he run on?
He ran everything. Rent control, stabilized rent. He's going to tax the rich people way more than before. Businesses are going to run out of that place like
Crumble.
it's on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Cheers
But, I mean,
to
maybe,
Manhattan.
This is the point where the underlying tension between socialism and capitalism can no longer be ignored or softened. Mamdani consistently advocates for systems built around centralized authority, heavy regulation, and top-down economic control models that history shows tend to strain under their own complexity. Command-style economics, state-directed markets, and sweeping government management are presented as bold solutions, while the long record of similar experiments struggling or collapsing is treated as an inconvenient distraction. Any discussion of past failures is waved away as outdated or irrelevant, as if history itself is biased. At the same time, capitalism, despite its real flaws, has been responsible for enormous gains in innovation, poverty reduction, infrastructure development, and technological progress. It built the systems people use daily, including the very platforms that amplify Mamdani's message. To his supporters, however, these achievements are uncomfortable facts that interrupt the visual and emotional appeal of revolutionary politics. In this environment, politics shifts away from planning and toward performance. Messaging is crafted for viral clips rather than policy durability. Speeches are designed to sound transformational, not to withstand scrutiny from economists or city planners. Supporters respond not to whether proposals are workable, but to how uncompromising and radical they sound. That pattern surfaced again during debates over international commitments, where rejecting established norms was celebrated as courage rather than examined as political convenience. The reaction revealed a familiar trend. Bold gestures are praised instantly, while serious questions about long-term consequences are dismissed as negativity. Tax increases are cheered until someone mentions capital mobility. Regulations are applauded until businesses respond by relocating. Economic systems are treated less like interconnected mechanisms and more like moral wish lists, where good intentions are assumed to override constraints. Mamdani thrives in this space, where emotional certainty outweighs empirical limits and optics matter far more than outcomes.
Yeah.
That's the goal, because we're building 4 homes per 1,000 people. Jersey City's at 7.
His broader vision paints New York as a flawlessly balanced socialist ideal, efficiently managed, endlessly funded, and inherently fair. It is a vision that sounds reassuring, even inspiring, but one that history has repeatedly struggled to bring into existence. Previous attempts at similar models are quickly dismissed as irrelevant, misapplied, or misunderstood, rather than examined for lessons. The belief seems to be that this time will be different simply because the intentions are purer or the language is more modern. Yet the contradictions surrounding this movement are difficult to ignore. The same voices that condemn capitalism rely daily on technology, consumer goods, financial systems, and communication platforms created by it. They demand expansive public services, healthcare, housing, transportation, education, while simultaneously advocating policies that weaken the economic engine expected to fund those services. The activism surrounding these ideas often emphasizes presentation, symbolism, and moral signaling, while giving far less attention to budgets, incentives, and sustainability. Mamdani embodies this dynamic almost perfectly. He delivers confident speeches, produces shareable moments, and energizes audiences with certainty and conviction. But governing a city requires more than intensity. It requires compromise, prioritization, negotiation, and an acceptance of limits. To his supporters, he represents vision and moral clarity. To residents focused on practical concerns, reliable transit, safe buildings, functioning services, balanced budgets, and economic stability. He appears less as a solution and more as a cautionary example. He illustrates what happens when ideology replaces engineering, when passion displaces planning, and when political success is measured by applause rather than results. In an already crowded political arena, he may not only be the loudest voice, but also one of the clearest reflections of the contradictions shaping modern urban politics.